Something that this current generation has a hard time wrapping their heads around is why so many of us older game heads hold the Sega Dreamcast so near and dear to our hearts. If I could sum it up without getting into great detail, the Sega Dreamcast provided us back in 1999 with a ton of new experiences that we had never seen before. Games that just kind of broke the mold and bended genres so much that you couldn't fully describe what category they fell into. Games like Shenmue, Space Channel 5, and in this instance, Jet Set Radio. We had made it through the snowboard game era, we had lived through the Tony Hawk era, but Jet Set Radio was something completely different. Yeah, its gameplay incorporated some extreme sports mechanics, but that wasn't the overall focal point. Jet Set Radio was more about the narrative, the extremely stylish cel-shaded art style, and providing us with an experience that was unique all to itself. We had a sequel come out for the original Xbox, but ever since then, we've seen a few games try to incorporate certain gameplay mechanics, but nothing that's ever fully encompassed the overall formula that was Jet Set Radio. Enter Rush Cyberfunk, which is a bit of a quasi-spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. But what the folks over at Team Reptile have done is essentially created the third entry into the franchise that we've always wanted. When I first laid my eyes on this game a while back, I knew it was going to be something special. But what we ended up with far exceeded anything I could have expected. This game just doesn't live up to the incredibly high bar set by Jet Set Radio. It actually manages to set a new standard in and of itself. It starts at the very beginning of the game when you realize that this is going to be a heavily story-driven experience. Jet Set Radio did have a story, but the overall focus was the gameplay. The story segments were few and far between. In Rush Cyberfunk, you're immediately thrust into this narrative with intriguing characters, plot development, and just overall great attention put into the storyline. The main character, Red, isn't just a voiceless avatar for us, the player. You actually get invested into what's going on, and really care to see this character develop as the story progresses. To set a brief premise of the story, you play as Red, who's essentially a cyborg. He's a robot implanted on a human body, and he wants to find out more about who he was before the implant occurred. He wants to know more about the human whose body he currently inhabits. Together with his partners Bell and Trice, they make up the Bomb Rush crew. So you follow them on their quest to become Awe City while uncovering the truth of what happened to Red. The story is filled with twists and turns and will keep you invested the whole way through. The gameplay is the tried and true Jet Set Radio formula. You go around different areas of the city, performing stylish tricks, putting your crew tag in various locations, all while listening to some good music. And speaking of music, the soundtrack in this game is awesome. It is every bit as good as Jet Set Radio before it. One thing this game does really well, even better than Jet Set Radio, is the fact that you're not just limited to inline skating. The character Bell might use skates, but Red uses a skateboard and Trice uses a BMX style bike. This subtle change provides a whole new depth in terms of the gameplay experience and makes it really stand out from the two titles that we're comparing it to. Another aspect of the gameplay that this game does better than Jet Set Radio, you can actually get off whatever you're riding and go on foot. One of the biggest issues with Jet Set Radio was while trying to be precise and navigate some of the area's obstacles, the controls would get a little bit clunky. Being on the skates constantly made your character a tad bit slippery. Well, that's not the case in Rush Cyberfunk. That little ability to be able to get off of what you're riding can make adjustments and precision that much easier. Another very welcome addition is the ability to fight back. In Jet Set Radio, while being chased by security or law enforcement personnel, the only thing you could do was kind of skate behind them and spray paint their backs. I mean, I understand why they did that, but it was a tad bit silly. In Rush Cyberfunk, you can actually throw kicks, throw knees, do some flips, do some Mortal Kombat style sweeps, and actually fight back those that are trying to attack you, giving this game some slight beat 'em up mechanics as well as everything else. Now, as much as I'd like to praise the game in every single regard, there is something that I feel Jet Set Radio did better, and that comes to the actual graffiti tagging. In Rush Cyberfunk, you play this little connect the dots minigame, and it just lacks the overall interactivity that I felt while playing Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio, you would do swoops and curves with the analog stick, and that's how you would spray paint some of these larger works of art. This connect the dots minigame, you can really just spin your analog stick in circles and you're gonna get it done. It makes the process quicker, but it feels much less rewarding. Outside of that one small detail, it was hard to find anything else that I disliked about this game. It's been 20 years, and all of us Jet Set Radio fans, that, all of us Dreamcast fans, can finally rejoice that a game that embodies the spirit that was the Sega Dreamcast is finally on a modern platform. I got it on the Nintendo Switch, but it's on every platform, and I highly recommend that everyone check this game out. If you're an old head like myself, or if you're a new school game head, everyone's gonna love this game. You should definitely give it a shot. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, this is Ness, signing out.